FBI.
CIA. Oh, not FBI, sorry. My bad.
No, the FBI are the children of the CIA, right? The CIA need the FBI. It's like FBI need the informants. CIA need the FBI. They're the kids of it, right? They're the children. But what they're saying is not wrong. It's not wrong. Like, they need a reason. And they could stop people, you know what I mean? Like, you do your thing and don't worry about competition. We'll handle the competition. You know what I mean? We'll give them the plans. Come on, we know how secret societies work and how intelligence work.
Oh, I don't honestly. There's not many facts around that, to be honest.
You're talking about the Freemasons are
There's conjecture.
We know how secret societies work and how...
To the extent of them controlling our society, politics and police, nah, there's not much evidence, man. It's conjecture. As far as I'm concerned, you get me? Malcolm X himself said he got death threats from the Nation of Islam. And then it just so happens that members of the Nation of Islam killed him.
Yeah.
Now, those seem like normal facts to me. But when someone says, oh, but maybe it was the CIA, maybe they were fake, then it all goes, bro, fam, the facts are there.
No, it's not maybe. That's what I'm saying. The Netflix documentary had by the Freedom of Information Act.
Okay.
They had to go and get the declassified information. The Henry Ford, the CIA head at the time. Henry Ford was the CIA head at the time, and he was the one saying Malcolm X is much more of a threat to the United States than Martin Luther King.
That's not proof of assassination by any means.
No, it's proof of permission to get rid of this guy.
Not really, man.
Yeah, but he says, how are we allowing this guy to keep on going without pressing charges?
And that's enough for you to conclude that it wasn't the Nation of Islam.
No.
Because how much does that really matter?
It's not.
The government hated Malcolm X, no doubt about it. They hated a lot of people. They hated Angela Davis.
Yeah.
She's a fucking professor now.
Yeah, and
they tried to put her on.
And they even killed their own heads of state. They don't go. Why not?
No, but I'm not with the why not thing. Anything's why not.
Yeah, but you got to be open to what these guys have been planning for a long time.
Open?
Come on.
Yes. Conclusive? No.
That's the beauty of evidence. Well, the beauty of evidence, right?
Evidence, as far as I'm concerned, is the fact from Nation of Islam and the Nation of Islam. That's evidence.
Yeah, they need a reason. They need a reason to allow it. They're waiting.
No, the worst thing is here.
And then they come in. They waited for them to do it, and then they come in. They know full well what's going on. They've well infiltrated this society. The FBI know. That was his last speech, right? 1 hour 29. 1 hour 29 speech. Talking about the guy who went against them and saying, yes, they want to kill you, Malcolm X. They beat him to death, near to death. Healed, came up to the stage, and here he is. Ali's guard. Come on. You gotta agree that if they want him dead, they just need a reason. They just need a reason. That's all they need. Perfect reason when he leaves and says, no, this guy's a fraud. Before I was speaking because of him, now I'm speaking for myself. Alright? They just need a reason. How come you can't see that side of it?
Not enough evidence in the
What?
And I'm sorry.
Even after the documentary, which is
that's not evidence. Man. You said be open, and I'm open. But the evidence shows one thing. It shows Nation of Islam something. That's the evidence. I can see the Henry Ford quotation says a lot. It's not evidence. Evidence is something different. I know you're trying to say you didn't get shot from the chairs. You got shot from elsewhere. That I've never heard that. Is that a fact?
What's that?
That he got shot from elsewhere, like a JFK kind of thing.
Yeah, from inside the thing. Those guys had blanks, right? Smoke and all this smoke screen. What's that?
Is that a fact?
To prove. All we know is they had that place rented out a week beforehand, and then after the assassination, they didn't investigate. They made sure that the event that happened afterwards, after the speech, went on and carried on without holding everything.
No, but the blanks.
The blanks.
Is there proof of blanks?
Don't know what happened to the guns and everything.
Oh, so there's no proof of blanks.
No, there's proof of inadequate investigation.
Yeah, well, that's the case a lot of the time. I'm sorry, but you can't fill that vacuum with another theory. Yeah, if we don't know, we don't know.
Yeah, but someone fulfilling their responsibility and duties as higher-ups, that means they're in cahoots with what's going to happen. Yeah, because when the police are not there, all of a sudden, when they don't come until like 30 minutes
They
later.
caught the killers. They did catch the killers. It's not like they allowed it. It's not like they completely disallowed it.
No, they didn't catch the killers. Who caught the
Malcolm
killers?
X was in an ambulance, in fact. He died in the ambulance.
Yeah, they didn't catch the killers. The
not like they
Nation of Islam caught the killers because they shot the guy in the foot. They said they didn't
Nation
shoot
of
that
Islam
guy.
didn't kill the killers. Malcolm X's own people.
Yeah, the guards.
Yeah, they're not a
guards.
Nation of Islam.
Yeah, sorry. The guards killed him, right? The guards shot his foot.
Yeah.
They said if they didn't shoot him in the foot, even he wouldn't have been caught.
Yeah,
He was the
I like
only
what
one,
they did. Right.
and the only guy who got caught came out and said the two who got pulled on by the FBI, they're not the killers. He himself said it.
Right, and you're going by the testimony of a convict. Someone who has been convicted to the... You know how many convicts
Yeah, he
say
did
that they're
his time.
innocent?
He did his time.
Right, yeah.
He did his time. But before he did his time, in the courtroom, he said those two are not the guys.
In the courtroom?
Yeah, those two are not the guys.
Well, that's not after the time, that's before his time.
Yeah, during the time he didn't want to say exactly the names, but he did say those two are not.
It's funny how the main guy, I know, said that the Nation of Islam made me jail and I regret it. What about that? Why don't we go by what he said there?
Yeah, that's no problem.
Because that's enough for me.
That's no problem, but we gotta hold the FBI and CIA to account. They didn't fulfill their responsibility.
Maybe.
Even though they went in and heard everything that was going on. You know, why did they stop the police from coming? Why did they stop them from being searched at the beginning? There's so
Malcolm
much.
X apparently was the reason for that. He said, I don't want no one getting searched at
No,
my...
no,
I don't want to make it into a atmosphere of fear. And so it was him, actually.
Yeah,
in
but
fact.
he didn't say that. He didn't say.
I believe he did.
No,
He
no,
didn't
no.
want
He didn't
anyone
say
searched
that.
at his talk.
The whole of he didn't say that. He said I'm not protecting myself by guards because I believe it's time to go. It's time to go.
I remember.
I'm alright.
He said, we ain't searching no one. His main security advisor said, look, we got to search people. He said, no, we're not doing it.
I've never heard of that one. Sorry.
You never read his autobiography?
Yeah, I have. That was
It's not even written by him, by the way.
Yeah, but he was there. Alex Haley, I could trust that guy.
Well, can you?
I could trust that guy. Loads of things that
I couldn't prove that he was the descendant of the Mandingos of West Africa. Yeah, he made some money off it. Made roots. Seen roots.
Yeah, but that was strong, right?
No, he got disproved. He got disproved. He couldn't trace his lineage back to the Mandingo.
How can you trace when people?
Well, he claimed it.
Yeah, but that's oratory. You can't really trace by oratory.
He claimed genealogy. Check it out. But Alex Haley is a hustler. You need to be careful about these guys, bro.
I know. But what makes sense is logic, right? If someone wants someone dead, if someone wants someone dead, all right, and they can't justify it yet, and then when they can justify it, brilliant. They take all the defense mechanisms out, so everything happens as a piece of cake. That could be believed then.
Possibly.
They could be held to account. Possibly. The fact that they weren't held to account. You know what I mean? That's what I say. What's your contention with that side? Yeah, one side killed him. Okay. The other side was meant to protect him.
Simply that.
Yeah.
It's not political.
The rich,
Go where the
police,
evidence is.
The police, the rich, the convicts, the ones who were held,
That's not
the
enough.
guy who was eliminated.
It's not enough to deconstruct the accepted theory or accepted facts.
Gunda.
I mean, look, if you're going against accepted facts, you've got to do better than accepted facts. When people think 9/11 was a thing, they got to go against the official story, which might be easy in some regards. But the real issue here is, it's just so common for people to believe that black leaders are assassinated. It's very common.
No, white leaders too, man. Lady gets assassinated like one year after.
Right, but people believe
Right?
that Tupac was assassinated. People believe
Abraham
Biggie was
Lincoln.
assassinated. It's very common for people to believe that even though the evidence shows that these people were simply killed. Malcolm X. You know, even fucking Martin Luther King's son believes his dad didn't get shot by a racist. That's a fact, bro. You can check that. Martin Luther King's son. The guy who's in prison, I can't remember his name. The guy in prison who got done for Martin Luther King's shooting, Martin Luther King's son don't believe he did it. There's always a conspiracy around big leaders, man. And until I hear good evidence, I don't buy it, bro. Like, that's a fact. MK Ultra occurred, COINTELPRO happened. They actively tried to destroy the Black Panthers. you can't then extrapolate that and say, oh, they're trying to kill everyone who's black. Fam, you got to follow the evidence.
That's true. I don't mind that.
Davis definitely got put on,
don't
but
mind
she
that.
escaped.
No, race-based thinking does cloud the judgment. I understand it totally.
You can
That's
see
true.
that.
No, I'm surprised how patient you are, mate. I'm surprised how patient you are. No, I was like, wow, man. Because it's not fair. It's not fair. It's you being white and Arab or Caucasian.
Yeah.
With most likely
Well,
African
non-black,
descent too.
really, non-black. That's all that matters.
It's true.
That's the debate.
It's
these
true,
days.
it's
You're
true.
black or you're non-black.
It's true.
That's why
I
Somalians.
have my brother who is whiter than you are. When we walk outside, he looks completely Caucasian, right?
Oh,
yeah, from
blood
what?
brother.
Yeah, from my blood brother. Yeah, from my mum.
He passed for white.
Yeah, he does. He does. And it's genealogy that happens. With Africa, it happens a lot. So my dad is Afro, his dad is English, and my mum's Arabian.
Well, you got different dads.
Yeah, different dads. And you know that happens a lot, especially when African dad comes. My Afro-Caribbean brother-in-law, green eyes, you know what I mean? And you know many Afro-Caribbeans have blue eyes in them, right? Blonde hair kind of thing. Aborigines. So this happens a lot when you compare a certain race.
Yeah.
When you look at this race, it clouds the judgment. You just look at a guy, he must be
Non-black.
I'm non-black.
You see, you're non-black.
Do you know where this all comes from?
Darren's a cub, yeah.
I really recommend you. I said Stanley Crouch earlier. If you check out Stanley Crouch, and not only Stanley Crouch, but my main man Albert Murray. They were both active in the civil rights time, but when they started to see civil rights, because civil rights, was from the late 50s, right? What my main man Stanley Crouch and Albert Murray and many others say, and they were writing at the time, they closely documented the split of the civil rights movement into those who are willing to integrate and work with government and those who are Black Panthers, anti-white, fuck the system, Marxist revolutionaries. Now, Stanley Crouch's theory, and he argues it very well, is that this element he considered toxic, and it's created what we know now. This anti-white thing. I'm only going to listen to someone who's black. Actually, no. If you're black and you're on that side, then you're a coon, you're a bootlicker, Uncle Tom, you're a sellout, you're Oreo, you're a coconut, you're a bounty. Get me? If you're none of those things, then we'll listen to you. And that came out of that. Get me? Have you ever listened to Huey Newton? Fam, this guy don't know what he's talking about, bro. I swear my mum's life, he don't know. Eldridge Cleaver's an idiot. These people are not intellectual. They were just straight raggo, bro, and that's why people love them. They go up on stage like, man, fuck the white people. Yes, let's get them. And that became so powerful, it splintered off. So nowadays, if you're a black man and you go become an academic, there's a large amount of black people that are, why you sell out, go work for the white university? If you're a black man, you go into become a mayor. You go to become some politician, president. Oh, why did he leave us like that, man? He sold out. Does that help anyone?
That's true.
You get me? But them same man who think that is still bumping 50 Cent, still bumping Lil Wayne. That's why I don't get it, bro. It's this militant mindset. The realer you are, the more I'm gonna listen to you. Oh, you're road, you're criminal. You must be one of us real, authentic guys. If you're some normal guy from the ends, bro, you don't get no recognition. If you're just some normal guy, I'm not into crime, I believe in the rule of law, some geek. Fam, you are being called an Oreo. You're getting called white because you're just a normal person. All this sort of poisonous, toxic thinking came from there. And that doesn't allow the conclusion that the Nation of Islam killed Malcolm X. Because that doesn't make sense, doesn't compute in the black power mind state. We gotta be careful of this. It's toxic, bro. None of it's educated. None of it's facts. It's just all argument.
No, the Netflix documentary doesn't deny that. It actually says they do. But it starts to hold the CIA accountable for why they didn't defend the guy, right?
I would agree with you.
All right, but what I'm saying is this. Okay, it's true that as soon as you look at something, as soon as you look at the physical, and you say it's the physical aspect of someone that determines his whole history, right? Yeah. As soon as you say that, as soon as you say that, you've done it. You've done it for the whole group of things. You know what I mean? You got to think about like-minded people. That's why I said we've got to unite with at least one goal. Unite with one goal. First of all, you got to be owning what you have. Educating. If you're not happy with the system, you got to change it from the inside, right? Is that true? The question is this: do we invest here, right here, as people of non-natives? All right. Do we invest here? Or do we do an exodus back home to the motherland?
I was born here.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's true. Many people were born here.
There's a lot of good things about this country.
It's true. It's true. We've got to be grateful for that. We can't disagree that it's saturated.
If you weren't born here,
we can't disagree that it's saturated. Number one, and we can't disagree that because of saturation, those who have the majority power, of course, it makes sense to allow that power to be held to the majority. And if they're physical thinkers, they talk about our family, our bloodline, those who look like us, those who look like our children. It makes perfect sense if they promote their children in those environments. So what I mean? The question still remains: do we invest here forever? Do we stay here completely, or do we start the exodus back home to lands where there's more opportunity? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could start your own constitution, or you could work with governments, and you know what I mean. Look, my brother here, he's recording. He's part of the whole of Africa.
Yeah.
These guys in Kenya, for example, they're doing great. You know, they've only migrated there since for like 10 years now, 10, 20 years, and they're already in governments in Kenya. They're already holding seats in real estate and all that. That gets to show that that's a place where immigrants can be held to a high standard. Over here, when you look at the movements, do you really feel as welcomed as you may think? You know what I mean? Do you feel
probably more welcome here than Kenya?
The Somalis might disagree with that.
Well, yeah, but that's one group. That's not. The thing is with this country. I mean, look, I envy you. You have a home. Do you have a home?
Yeah, but let's say we all have homes. Well, the whole earth is our home, bro.
No, but it's not the same, bro.
Why would you say
The
that?
earth is spacious, bro.
Darren, why would you say that?
I can explain.
Why the home thing?
Yeah, so most people here, not all, but most, if you're not born here, then you always know, maybe it's from your family, maybe it's just your culture, maybe it's just your belief, you know that your home is back there. You get me? It might not be in the best state, but many people, look, remember this, man, many people immigrate to this country, plan to leave at some point. Come here, make their money, then they go. Polish people, good example. Polish people come here, grind. Polish men live in the fucking house with 8 other people in a room, and they go back and they make a nice house in Poland. Yeah? Happens often because they don't consider it their home. London, for many people, is a place to make money and then leave, right? So I hear that, you know, and I envy them in a way because they do have a home. You get me? They can come here, but they know there's a home back there. They know the language. They maybe they have family. That's a home. For me, my home is a place where everyone else just comes to make money.
I put this in there.
And that's a deep part.
Unity in just the material game, and that causes a lot of competition in the physical realm. Someone who just make money, you're already talking about dog eat dog world. New York is a perfect example, man. The mafia ruled over that because it's just money making. If you unite by the coin alone, you will have families that take over, that monopolize. If it's just money alone, there used to be some white Jewish
gangsters, bro. I mean, the Jews who were white were some gangsters in New York.
You know what I mean?
Trust me, bang, bang. I mean,
home is
shoot them up,
definitely
gangsters.
subjective.
They used to be Jews, but then they leveled up.
Gangster up again. He can't
No,
let it
I'm
go.
not talking about gangsters. I said the
Shoot 'em
Jews.
up gangsters.
No, I said the Jews
I
used
thought
to
he had
be.
a- I think-
I'm
I
gonna
thought
go.
he
He
was
wins.
doing
No,
He
come
wins.
back. No, come back. No, break that down for me.
Basically, I said in New York, before the black people were turned into gangsters, the Jews were actually the underclass here, and they were some bang bang gangsters.
He's proud of that.
No, what I'm trying to say is that different societies evolutionize. They go through, say the Irish at one point used to be gangsters, but then they step up, they start to invest in the infrastructure, then they started getting contracts. So the government then allowed them, so basically the government allowed the Irish gangsters and the Jewish gangsters to actually get contracts in waste management, supplying oil, construction sites. So basically the actual government then handed to actually white Jewish people and Irish gangsters contracts to actually uplift their community, but unfortunately for the blacks they don't get that privilege.
Right, back to regularly scheduled programming. So I was saying there's more than money.
What unites? What collects home? Because home to me is somewhere where you're welcome, not tolerated. If you're a place where you're just tolerated, make your money and then go to a place where you're welcomed. And that's where Kenya. That's why I said no one has visited Africa until you go to Kenya. That's the place I've seen in real life people of all backgrounds, from east to west, sorry bro, east to west, actually feel welcome. And just recently, the newest community, the Somalians and the Rwandans, they just come, and within a few generations they could have a better quality of life. That's a place. That's a place. Yeah, that's true. But then you have the masses, the populace, who think differently. And there's a movement. Yeah, of course. Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man. Brexit was a perfect example of migration being the straw that breaks the camel's back. That's a perfect example.
You just said the magpie as well.
Yeah, I'm telling you. People, once it's saturated, people start looking at the physical again. And if they have that history to justify it, and they have a science to justify it, these guys justify it by the Darwinian theory. They can't justify it by the fact that knowledge is gained and lost through our civilization. You know what I mean? We're just 400 years old, the civilization of the West. You know what I mean? Before that, there was the Ottomans, and the gunpowder was invented by the guys who were yellow, not the guys who were pink.
But that's what Jared Diamond says in Guns, Germs and Steel. It's about the Great Divergence. You've heard of the Great Divergence?
Go ahead.
Great Divergence, supposedly, loose term, for that point in history, right, roughly about 500 years ago, when Europe took over everyone else. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and I believe in the torch being passed. I believe in that torch being passed. I don't believe in the torch being held to those who passed it. You know what I mean? The Berbers, the Persians, the Arabs, they had to let it go to the European Renaissance.
Well, I mean, the torch don't pass equally, though. You get me? Because the last colonized places on Earth, found, discovered, the Americas and the Australasian continent, they were completely primitive natives.
Yeah, that's fine.
You get me? Some people say the Mayans were deep with astrology and shit, but Europeans were way ahead. So it's funny because everyone who had contact with the Middle East seems to have been the most advanced. The Middle East really is the birthplace of modern advanced civilization.
I think it's the bridge. I think it's the bridge.
Yeah.
Because I think things pass. You know what I mean? And then they stay here.
But then it went to Europe and it stayed with Europe. That's why.
For 400 years, yeah, but it stayed in the Middle East for like 500, 600, 800, right?
But what
From
really,
711
true.
to 1300. We could record that.
You're not wrong.
These stars have Arabic names. You know what I mean? That's 300. How many hundreds of stars
100%.
to be named?
Bro, fucking Egyptian dynasties were like 3,000 years old or something.
Yeah, that's a long time to rule.
I don't deny it, but my point is that the Great Divergence is called the Great Divergence and not just passing of another torch. Because the Great Divergence was the last point in our history, because we in the future, yes. It was that point at which everything sped up. The beginning of globalization as we know it. Europeans, for some reason, became extremely technologically advanced at this point. They went to every corner of the globe. No one had ever done this before. It's the Great Divergence.
Daniel Hannum talks about this, and it's all to do with the fact that they stopped becoming insular and they became
There's many.
extroverted.
No one knows.
It's the decentralization. That's why he was talking about Brexit being a good thing, because it finally lets us go of the European Union and allows us to be back to the globalization kind of
Listen
aspect.
to Tories, bro. The Tories won't tell you nothing about nothing, bro. Is that the guy I'm thinking?